It is 9:15. I believe I might have filibustered enough. And so it's now time to bring in our buddy Tyler Pilgrim, who is actually indoors this time. He is indoors in his studio space. And so we get to find out, first and foremost. All right, so what's the mug?
It is the classic.
Okay.
Scarves and Spikes.
Right on. Now my next question is, you were lacking in some materials last time out to make a full cup of coffee. Has there been a trip to the grocery store to make sure that your cup of coffee has all of the contents that you desire on a daily basis?
Yes, there has. You can't go more than one coffee session lacking the necessary tools and ingredients. It becomes like the number one thing on the priority list at that point.
Well, and I mean, to give, I know that this will shock all of you, but we have our shopping lists, and because we're running around 900 miles an hour, we usually have it delivered from the store to the stoop, and it's one of the greatest things that mankind has ever created is home delivery from the grocery store, except when they substitute and get things wrong, and we'll get to that in a minute. But to be able to sit there and it's like, yeah, this, and this, and then just have it pop up. It's amazing. You sit there and it's like, okay, it's delivered. We're caught up when you're not. So yeah, I know what you mean. It's like you're missing something. You can't go a full cycle without having everything. And then if worst comes to worst and you can't get it delivered in time, you're just going to drive to the store. I'm going to do this myself. You drive down to the store. And,
yeah.
And you're like, I'm going to take care of this. So we're not having one more day where I don't have everything in the cupboard that I need to have my day start the right way.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like Will asked, what's the coffee order? I mean, typically like 99% of the time I'll drink coffee pretty much anyway, but like, it's just a little bit of milk, like a little bit of cream or whatever, half and half, whole milk, whatever milk. I don't care.
Wow.
And that's it. Like, that's all I do. Occasionally, if I want to get fancy, I want to get a little razzle dazzle, I'll throw some sugar in it. Like, it's that simple.
That's razzle dazzle. I'll tell you what.
But, like I'll drink coffee black as well. But when you get up in the morning and you're like, I'm so ready for this cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. And then you realize you open the fridge and there is no milk, half and half. I don't even care if it's almond milk, whatever, walnut milk, whatever other milk that is made allegedly. And none of it's there.
Banana milk.
That is the worst feeling.
Oh, absolutely, it is.
It is the worst. And you're like, well, but this messed up my entire morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm not surprised by that one bit. And but the larger point is, if you go and get something delivered and then they give you something entirely different from what you asked for, it's like it's kind of the same, but it's nowhere close to what you were looking for. There's that moment of disappointment. You're like, oh man, they didn't tell me that that they swapped it out or that they didn't get it. It's like, and so it's like Christmas every freaking time that you get food delivered. And everything's there. It's great. Something's missing. Oh, crap. Something's subbed and it's nowhere close. Oh, man. So it's like you're running through all of these emotions now when you have food ordered, you have your groceries ordered and then delivered to you. You could have, it literally is like the Goldilocks setup. It's like you go, one bed's great, one bed's okay, and the other bed's awful. And so you could have all three of those experiences when you order your groceries online these days.
Yeah. And it's like, it's always, I think we've talked about this before, but it's always like the most random thing because they'll be like, did you check your replacements? And I'm like, why did you replace apples with
pomegranate?
Yeah. Like Fiji water or something. Like it's something totally different. Like, no, this is not how this works. And then beyond that, all right, so like they get delivered. That's one thing. Mm-hmm. But then what really toasts my buns more than anything is when you get to the grocery store, right? Like you don't order it to be delivered to your house. You just go to the store and you do like the curbside pickup type situation.
Yeah, I've been there.
And you get there and you wait. And then they bring it all out. And you're like, cool. And then you realize they forgot something. And so then I've got to go into the store anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dude, why did I even do this? I've set myself up for frustration here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've done that myself as well. So and traditionally for me, when I drive up, when I'm out and about and I'll drive up instead of have it delivered, 9 times out of 10, I end up driving to the old delivery location. It's like they'll sit there initially when they start the delivery idea of a particular store. They'll have like one wall that'll be all of your delivery spaces. And it's been so long since I've been there that I'll go to the old delivery spaces and I'll be the only person there. And I'm going, man, why is everybody sitting here? And why am I the only car here? And then after about 20 minutes, after arriving on time, you'll realize, maybe I'm in the wrong place. And then you go to the other walls of the store and then you see all the numbers and everything. And it's like, okay, now I'm supposed to be here. And then you call in and they come out and they were like, yeah, we had it here for you 20 minutes ago. Sorry about your ice cream. And like, everything's melting and you're like, man. So yeah, traditionally for me, I end up going to the wrong part of the store when I'm picking things up myself. That's the other element that's attached to why I have it delivered, because the lag time in me figuring out I'm at the wrong part of the store versus things melting and going bad. That's
milk
usually
is curdled. Things are already like beyond their shelf life.
That's usually how it goes in these kinds of situations. So it is just so Abby. We have helpful hints. So all right. So Abby is groceries online. Yeah, they never pick the fruit that I would pick.
That is also true.
Absolutely. And it's because if you're going in there and you know your own investigative way of, it's like, you're thumping the watermelon or whatever to make sure it makes that nice bass sound.
How yellow is it on one side?
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
So,
I get it.
And so Abby, I definitely can relate. One item isn't bad instead of a full shop. Yeah.
Get a bushel of bananas that like the only thing they can be used for is like pancakes at that point.
Yes, absolutely true. And then obviously, David, don't get delivery. If you want to get it done right, do it yourself. And I mean, yes, I do agree with this concept, but because of the days being the days that they are, especially in season, you're like, man, this fell to the bottom of the sheet, and I've got to get something done. I've just got to make sure that it happens, and then me, I'm always screwing up the order anyway. All right. So, Kate, sorry. Cerebral Palsy Men's National Team, the CPM&T. We're having Stuart Sharp on at 10:30. So it's the Cerebral Palsy Men's National Team. They won the Copa America down in Argentina, and it's their first ever major title. And so we're catching up with Stuart at 10:30. So that's what that is, Kate. It's the Cerebral Palsy Men's National Team. So we'll catch up. We're catching up with them at 10:30. Okay. So, I did not know.
Fellow Fayetteville trainee.
Yeah, maple syrup instead of sugar. Will says.
I have heard this.
I have not.
I haven't tried that. Now I've tried honey. Of course, you like do honey and tea. And see, like when I do the sugar, maybe I'm a little picky. Yep. I prefer like that brown, like the brown turbinado, like cane sugar or whatever, like the actual brown sugar that's like not processed.
Right.
Something about it that just hits better than table sugar. But I will have to try the maple syrup.
Yeah, to me, I was like, okay, that's new. I've never heard
sugar in the raw. Ricky said, yeah.
Thank you, sugar in the raw. I couldn't remember what that was, but yeah, it's the brown container. You have the brown, the pink, the yellow, and the white when you have the ceramic container. It's like I couldn't remember sugar in the raw. Okay, let's see. There we go. Okay, there actually is some soccer to talk about.
Yeah.
I know. It's like the first 10 minutes we're sitting there and I'm sitting there complaining about grocery delivery and
this between decision day and playoffs, especially when the team you primarily cover is not in it.
Yeah.
It's like purgatory.
Well, I mean, there is other stuff to get into. We're going to get into Champions League as well and the chaos that happened there. Last night, well, they 4 goals in 13 minutes. Are you serious?
Yeah, wild.
And 2 of them coming from Jokeres. So that was, getting him off the schneid. But yeah, yesterday you had like 728 goals in Champions League yesterday. It's chaos involving PSG and a couple of other squads. Yesterday, the team came out with an announcement in the evening, time stamped 8:13 last night. And Atlanta United announces that President and CEO Garth Lagerwey taking an immediate and indefinite leave of absence from the club to fully focus on medical treatment and recovery with full support of the club and AMBSC. Day-to-day operations moving forward will continue under Chief Soccer Officer Chris Henderson, SVP of Strategy Demetrios Evstathiou, and Chief Business Officer Sarah Kate Knopfsinger. They'll continue reporting to Rich McKay. Garth's quote, I am mindful that leadership of Atlanta United requires full-time attention, and right now I simply must focus on my health and ongoing cancer treatment. I'm appreciative of the club considering my health needs during such a challenging time, and I'm also encouraged by my treatment progress and long-term outlook. And that was the quote from Garth last night that came out in the 8 o'clock hour. So, and I will preface this by saying it this way. I hate cancer like nobody's business. We have all, I'm fairly certain, been affected by this nasty disease in one way or another. Friend, family, close, not as close as they should be, those kinds of things. And Garth's focus needs to be there, and the fact that I give him nothing but love and support, and to tackle this sumbitch as best as humanly possible. So go, take your time, do your thing, kick cancer's ass, and come back when you're 140%. That's all I want.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I think if I was gonna Monday morning quarterback any of this, I just wish he had completely taken the indefinite, like, full step back months ago, and I get why he didn't.
Yeah. Garth's a competitor. He's an athlete, and the man that wore cornrows between the sticks when he was in Major League Soccer, that one of the best PK stoppers in the history of Major League Soccer. So he's a competitor. How much the work means to him on a daily basis. But to get this announcement, it's like, yep, just go kick cancer's ass, and we'll be here. We'll be here.
Yeah, the club's not going anywhere. You do have a handful of people in the front office that they can handle this. Like Chris, and the good thing is, like, it's not like he hired Chris, who was an unknown to him, and then this happened to where he's like, oh, now I've got to trust this guy that I don't really know that well. I mean, he knows Chris. He knows kind of how he works and how he operates. Yeah, leave it in Chris's hands. Skate, all of them. They've got this. And just go put your professional life out of your mind entirely and go do what you have to do. Go knock it out, handle it, and come back even stronger than before. And so, yeah, I totally agree. I just, I pray that everything is going better than expected. I don't know. And I'm not going to sit here and try to, guess based on, like, the timing and all this other stuff. Like, oh, did something get worse, or is it better? Or, sometimes I was talking with some people, like, as recently as this morning about, like, their own experiences with it. And sometimes the post-treatment time is the worst.
Yeah. It absolutely kicks your ass.
Yeah. So ultimately, I just want him to go heal up, get better, and get back at it when he is completely better.
Yeah. And I mean, you are living in the day-to-day, and you are living from treatment to treatment. When you're out of your chemo cycles, you are living 6 months at a time, going doctor appointment to doctor appointment. So, like, literally, that, having faced this demon square in the jaw, it's like, look, like I said, like you and I've said, just like, look, just do your thing, kick its ass, come back. We'll be here, and we'll throw a party, and we'll blow out a parking lot with champagne and cake when the time is appropriate. But no,
sure.
we are here to support as best we can and be there however you want us to be going forward. Because I was this close when the story hit to earning the explicit rating, and I mean really earning the explicit rating with my language toward the disease in general. So it has taken a lot of me during this entire time. Anytime that I'm impacted by someone who is fighting cancer, I literally have to restrain from saying the Carlin 7 in a big streak of letters and big streak of sentences when it comes to this thing. But yeah, so it is now Chris on the player side, and then on the business side, it is D and Skate. And so there are a lot of things that have to be decided upon. and we've already seen a couple of teams that have announced their decisions. All Caps made their decisions, including Rasmus Alm, who was a big paycheck, and then Montreal made their decisions. They also took the interim tag arc off of Marco Donadel. So we're starting to see those clubs that, as we get into the postseason, making decisions. Atlanta United's no different, and having someone like Chris, who's he's no spring chicken, he's no rook. There are decisions that have to be made, and having someone like that, as you said before, it makes the process knowledgeable. You're ready to hit it square. You know what you're getting into. It's not like somebody's just coming in and you trying to see if their key card works to make all this stuff happen. This is someone who's done it before.
Yeah, and he's got time, right? Like I don't foresee. Let me rephrase it. He has time. I think Chris is going to go into this offseason with a sense of urgency.
Yes.
In lots of things, but I think there is a order of operations here, and those decisions probably don't need to be made right now because you do have a little bit of time. So a couple other things need to be handled first, and then you figure out of all the contracts that are ending, and then all the contracts, option years, et cetera, what do you really want this team to start to look like in 2026? And I keep going back to this one thing that one of the last things that Ronnie Dyla said while still employed with Atlanta United, I actually think was pretty spot on. He said, I never felt like the club or the team had a foundation this year. And, we can have a discussion on whose fault that is. Like at the end of the day, that's the coach's fault, but or at least partially the coach's fault. But if the right players aren't there, then the right players aren't there. I do think that as far as the roster is concerned, there are a couple of things that you're going to have to change. You're going to have to make moves on, and it doesn't matter what coach comes in. I think you need to be getting more out of a handful of positions, and that's fine. That's the type of retrospective you have at the end of every season. And so with the way that this offseason is going to go for Atlanta, I think, you just have to do things in the proper order. So the big thing right now is going to be the coach. But beyond that, and going back to that day as well, Brad Guzan said the same thing. You have to have the hard conversations. And some of these signings, some of the players that are actively playing on this roster, I mean, you're going to have those hard conversations. And I'm not I don't know. I'm not going to throw specific names out in terms of, my opinions at the moment, but I think anybody that looks at this team over the past year or a couple of years can see that there are probably players that that's not the fit for them. And that's fine. That happens with every team. And but you've got a guy up front with Chris who he's been around the block, like you said. He's been there before. He's been in situations where it was all rosy at the end of a season. And he's been in positions where it was very frustrating at the end of the season. Now, has he been in one like this? I don't think so, but probably not. But he's got the experience still. So either way, no matter what, it's going to be busy.
Yeah. The contracts where you have decisions to make, I think Brad, was the only contract left that just ended in 25. You do have a handful of 25s with options for 26s and later. The homegrowns, a couple of homegrown decisions are 25s with a couple of renewal years behind it, 26, 7, and 8, I think, for Jaden and for Will Riley. And there are a couple of 25s with option years for 26. But these decisions are not your top A DP-ish high salary decisions. Those are the players that are under contract for a while. Your 25 contract ending 25 with option years, they're the ones, that are your depth pieces or your spot starters. So those those economical decisions are the ones that you're looking at with 25 ending with option years. It's not something where you have a DP decision that has to be made with a contract that is out at the end of 25.
Yeah, I mean, you start getting into like the DP conversation or some of these other ones, and that's just extra. Like, and who knows? Like Chris might go into it saying we need to reevaluate, whether it's the DPs or this particular set of positions or whatever. And yeah, you have, there's a little more work that is involved because you have to find somebody to trade or you have to use a buyout or whatever. But as far as what you're saying with the homegrowns and with these guys that are kind of coming up on option years or the possibility that they could not come back next year,
Right.
that's where you have to look at it and say, all right, to in 2026 to be a silverware winning team, I think if we're being honest, you do have to have more of your roster of 30 participate than you probably did 8, 9, 10, 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just skate by with, your prime starting 11 and a couple of good subs. Like you start participating in all these different tournaments, and who knows how the World Cup's going to affect everything next year. But you start participating in all these tournaments, and you really need your academy guys to step up. You need your twos. You need these guys to come in and be able to give you successful performances. And I think Atlanta has that for sure. But it's typically going to be most likely that they fall somewhere on the depth chart and not necessarily starting next year. Like I'm sure Jaden, there's a good chance he'll be starting next year, but you just never know when a new coach is coming in. So at the end of the day, I think they just have to have a real in-depth look, and I'm sure they've been having. I'm sure Javier Perez is heavily involved in that as well. But like, who of the academy / homegrown / twos players are ones that we should pick up the option on, and who should we let go off to, their own greener pastures?
And with and Atlanta United in the September evaluation, with the changes that they had, I think it was 7 and 5, 7 out and 5 in. The AM that they had, the GAM that they had, not just AM, but GAM that they had was just a little under $137,000. That is on the low end of the scale. You have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams underneath you that had less GAM at the end of the 25 area than Atlanta United. And so, you're going to probably stick with your 3 and 3, meaning your 3 DPs and your 3 U22s approach. But you can still, once again, change that to a 2 and a 4. But right now you've got your 3 DPs. That's going to lock in place. So that means you have your 3 U22s. That's a part of it. And then you sit there and you wonder about the younger players and just how much of an impact they're going to make, because in a cap league, and this was the point that I was trying to make until my brain locked on me, in a cap league, it is those depth pieces, it is the rookie contracts, it's the entry level contracts and that player development that will help you out to give you that buffer and that spending space so you can bring in the experienced folks and bring in the higher priced talent. But you're counting on all of those younger dudes. And so, all right, so let's think about the younger dudes that came in. So Jay, before he got injured, Jay is a contract decision because he has one option year left. Matt Edwards, DCQ, Cooper Sanchez, Luke Brennan, Will Riley. So these are the guys that are in that 80, Nick Sessick, yeah. So these are the guys that are in that 82,000 to 120 to 150 range that really do help you out in your cap numbers, so you can bring in those experienced folks as those bridges to when the younger players are ready, they're ready to take over, and you're not breaking the bank with all this stuff.
Yeah, that's the recipe, in my opinion, for not just success, because any team can get out there and have a decent run and get admittedly lucky, right? Like you can go out there and because this is such a league of parity, you make it to the playoffs and then you only have to really win a handful of games and what's essentially another season to go win MLS Cup. So you can have that run and it all works out. Good for you. But to be like successful year over year, you really need to have your academy firing on all cylinders. And I mean, look, I think Atlanta. I've said it before. I think Atlanta has, in terms of the output of talent, has a top 5 academy in this league. Um, but that is the recipe, right? Like you said, in terms of where you have to look at the money and the rubber hits the road kind of situation.
Yep.
You have to be able to bring up guys who they are going to perform beyond what their paycheck might indicate.
Yep.
And that's okay, because when you're 18, 19, whatever years old, first of all, the amount that you're still going to be getting paid is great for an 18, 19-year-old, if we're being honest. But, it does give you that opportunity, that exposure to then go on to bigger and better things. Look at Caleb Wiley, and a handful of others that we've had over the years.
Left back you, baby.
George Bell. Yeah, I mean, look at all these guys. And so now I say all that, and I will sit here and say in the same sentence that I want Atlanta United to start keeping some of these guys long term, because then they become, I don't want to say lifers, but like they become long-term players that there is that sense of identity, that sense of pride for the badge, that for the city. And I think that goes a long way to locker room culture, to the chemistry amongst the players, like just having a cornerstone, especially now that Brad's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you have to get a lot out of those to free up the ability to go after who you want to go after for, I would say, the bread and butter of a first team roster. So
to David, to answer your question about last season, I dug up the September 24 grid, and your U22s and your U22s that are no longer here: Franco Ibarra, Edwin Mosqueda, who is on loan technically, but I do not anticipate his contract to be picked back up, and Santi Sosa. Those are U22 players. They're not like twos players, but they're U22s. Homegrowns. Noah's out on loan to Colorado. Nick Firmino did not have his option picked up. I think Nick is in Lexington playing for Lex SC in the championship. Ephra, who is now in Montreal, and Tyler Wolf was a homegrown who did not have a contract renewed, and Eric Centeno was a supplemental slot as a Generation Adidas player. So if you're looking at players that were not renewed after last season, it's Nick, it's Ephra, it's Tyler, and it's Eric, plus the 3 U22s in Santi Sosa, Edwin Mosqueda, and Franco Ibarra. So once again, it's folks that don't ding you in the cap a whole lot, and you had a couple of twos players that were out of contract that you made decisions on. So it was a handful of folks, but it was a combination of U22s and some homegrowns and homegrown designations and a Generation Adidas and Eric Centeno. So that was the breakdown from last year.
Yeah. And I'll throw this out there. I think if I'm going to sit here and vehemently disagree with the way that the roster has been kind of constructed, and I know good and well why, but I just want to see more of, I want to see that U22 spot milked, because I think you can get something out of it with Atlanta's scouting.
Mm-hmm.
You look at some of the players that Atlanta has brought in over the years, even before the U22 roster designation was a thing, that would fit into what is now the U22 roster designation. And I'm like, you have the feelers out there. You have the net to go out and send scouts to literally every corner of this world to find that U22 kid who you shouldn't expect him to come in on day one and start. But you see the talent and you go to him and say, look, this is a chance for lots, for more eyes on you, World Cup coming up, for, arguably, depending on how it goes, like better pay. Obviously helps the club because like you said, the cap space is not, it's minimal, the cap hit's minimal.
Mm-hmm.
But you can find that gem, that kid that's going to come in and just play, out of his mind. And yeah, if he comes in with the expectation that he's still going to have to work his way into a like prime starting 11 spot, I think that's how you want to use it. Now, and I know Garth and Chris, hearing both of them explain their opinions on the U22 spots, like Garth typically kind of comes across as it's not a priority. Chris has said if the right guy comes up, then he would pursue it. And I just think that there are opportunities out there for now. There's a lot of other stuff you have to take care of first, but if you can just one U22 spot, have a guy come in, an Ezekiel Barco as an example, that comes in that, yeah, he's not going to start initially, but the whole point is to help him grow into a guy that can become something significant for the club. And it might take 6 months, it might take 3 months, it might take a year and a half. I don't know. But I just think it's such an underused spot. And the way that Atlanta's used them in the past it feels like it's been very haphazard. So that's my other roster construction soapbox.
Kate is asking about the net, and she says, don't they need to keep both Josh and Jaden, or do they think they could snag somebody like Nick Pope, Kaylor Navas, or Memo Ochoa, who is the same age as Gazan? By the way, Nick Pope, I think the Falcons might need to look at Nick Pope after yesterday.
Yeah, dude.
With that 65-yard bomb that he threw, and I think it was Anthony Gordon on a vert. So that was the big run for Nick Pope. Nick Pope is, Kate, if we take this player at a time, Nick Pope is under a deal for one more year at Newcastle. He is currently making, let me see, he's making $3,120,000. So if you were going to sign Nick Pope, it probably would have to be surrendering a DP slot to do something like that. You bring in a Newcastle keeper, it's probably a DP slot. You've got the 3 DPs, and Nick Pope would have to really want to come here. May not necessarily get $3 million. He'd have to be a high TAM, although we do know someone who is a chief soccer officer who was a part of a roster who definitely knew how to turn players into TAM players and make sure that you got a lot of friends of a certain player coming out. Hey, you want to come play with me? You're only going to make this much, but you can make more in endorsements. Okay, yeah, sure, go. Yeah, I don't know where that team exists. They're around here somewhere.
I don't know. I've heard they're south.
Yes, yeah, somewhat. Kaylor Navas and Memo Ochoa, they probably would be more salary friendly, but you wonder about their durability over a 34 plus Leagues Cup or Open Cup or whatever schedule you want to put up there. Now that we're going down the Kaylor Navas rabbit hole, well, I just want to see what his contract status is and find out where he would be.
I mean, master of the dark arts for sure.
Oh, absolutely true. He's at Pumas right now, and he's 38. And in between Newell's and Pumas in 25, he's played 25 matches. So, would Kaylor want to be away from Liga MX? That would be the big question there at the age of 38, coming up on 39. And then Memo Ochoa. Memo has been floating around the lower divisions in Italy, I want to say. And he's 40, correct. He is a man.
Yep.
Memo Ochoa is okay. So he was in Italy, and now he's with AEL Limassol in Cyprus. So that's the Premier Division in Cyprus at AEL Limassol. And at the age of 40, that's where Kaylor is right now. So
that man is playing in one of the most beautiful places. Like, leave that man alone. He's enjoying it.
I mean, he's got his tequila ads, and he's doing.
Yeah.
He was in the Portuguese league last year at AVS. So that was in the Premier Division in Portugal, but it was a team that was struggling to stay up. Before that, he was at Salernitana in Serie A, and then he had his time with Club America. So literally Club America, and then 2 seasons with Salernitana. Then he goes and plays at AVS in Portugal. Now he is right now in Cyprus. So once again, would Memo want to sit there and come by, or would he want to just kind of sit there and go, "Nah, I'm chill, I'm good. I'm playing in Cyprus, and I might be in international play as well." So that would be the key in all of these, Kate, is salary. And this is the thing that we run into in a cap league, is that your designated players can make whatever they want. They only hit the cap at a certain point. But right now, if Atlanta United was to bring in someone who would be a DP, which I'm guessing that Nick Pope would be, or Kaylor Navas, or whomever, someone in that vein, they would have to find room for them as a DP, sign them for whatever salary figure they could, and then kind of work backwards and figure out how else you want to fill your roster. I don't know how many teams in Major League Soccer have DP goalkeepers at the moment. So, of course, now I'm going to go look that up. So,
Isn't St. Louis about to have one?
Oh, Berkey?
Yeah.
Yeah, Berkey re-signed through 27. So
as a DP.
Yeah. So every designated player. So all right. So
I will say this while you look that up.
Sure.
Cohen, to that point about the salary cap, I mean, his guaranteed compensation is like $328,000, so it's relatively low.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Jaden, who he's being trained obviously by some of the best. So like then that's the thing that you know behind the scenes, the coaching staff, the goalkeeper coaches, everything else like that Atlanta has been really good.
It looks like only two, Matt Turner and Berkey would be
forgot about Turner.
Your two. So Matt Turner in New England and Roman Berkey at all caps. I think those are the only two right now that are keepers that are DPs. That's a lot of faith. That's a lot of faith putting that net keeper, and they've done that with Berkey, and they really needed it in New England. So that's those are two situations off the top of my head. If as I sit here and blow through, yeah, David, they have Charlotte has both Calendar and Kalina, and that is an interesting question up the road. So if you would, David, put a bookmark in that one, because when Willie P joins us on Friday at 10:30, we can discuss this here. But yeah, you've got Drake Calendar and Christian Kalina. It makes me wonder if Dean Smith and the Z-Man, Zoran Cornetta, mightn't be knowing something about Christian Kalina and his future that he might want to jet. And so you've got Drake Calendar in there as a 1A or a 1B. That you've got both of those dudes that are there, and they're both are both there under your cap, and they both fit. But that's like a 1A and a 1B for me in Charlotte.
Yeah,
I'm wondering, is there something that they don't know? And Emilio's like, yeah, I don't see why Hibbert doesn't start. Yeah, they'd be on the bench as a backup. Yeah, I mean, perhaps. I mean, and right now, the biggest question is with Jaden. Do you think? And this is something that is decided inside the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground with coaches and front office folk and stuff. Would Jaden? I mean, you ask Jaden this question, he'll sit there and go, "Yeah, man, I'm ready." But is Jaden ready for a full 34 match plus rigor and wear and tear? Is he going to be ready for a full 34 match schedule? That would be the biggest question. And do you think? Do you have the faith in him to be your starting keeper, or are you going to be chasing after a guy like a David Bingham or somebody like that to bring in, or do you bring Josh in on another number or something like that to be that experienced keeper behind, the Bobby Shuttleworth approach, where you bring in somebody like Bobby, that experienced backup for you to help things out. That is going to be another one of the questions with Jaden. Is he going to be ready for the wear and tear of a full season if you think he's going to be your number one starter?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Kind of like what I was saying earlier, you just kind of never know when you have a coaching change, a regime change, right? I think going into the end of the season, Jaden performed admirably. And as far as like whether or not he's ready, can handle the full season, I mean, the dude's probably one of the fittest guys. He's the most in shape. I mean, the dude lives in the gym, but he's never had that kind of mental load that he would have to deal with. And also, it is a weird year. The World Cup, that throws a wrench in things when you're going, and then you're going to have, this pause or in a away stretch probably of some sort. Like that throws another aspect into it. So, I mean, I love the idea of having Jaden around for a long time and seeing him be at minimum what you need to compete for the playoffs and have a chance at trophies. But like best case scenario, he becomes your very long-term goalkeeper, a position that you just don't have to worry about for a long time. And I would love to see that. Now he's young. So yeah, like depending on what happens in the off season, does a new coach trust him? I don't know, but in a perfect world, yes, you keep Jaden there. You have that backup that's experienced, that's doing all the things behind the curtains.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, of course, the goalkeeping staff that's obviously doing everything they can to build every great part of Brad Guzan into Jaden Hibbert that you possibly can. And then he's your guy. I would love that, but we'll see.
And that's where we are right now with anything and everything. We do have games tonight, by the way, and this is the it's like the third season is already up and running, and it's like it already popped its head in. So tonight we have the wild card games or play-in round or whatever you want to call it. So we have that tonight. And the 8-9s, we talked to Mike Gramajo yesterday from the Purple Team, covering the Purple Team down at West TV in Orlando. And I was trying to see if he was looking at the situation involving Orlando, kind of like we are north of that border, that border that's associated. And it was once again another season where we thought that Oscar Pareja had gone against type and was fairly consistent last couple of years. You didn't have the up and then the fade. And this year you have the up and the fade. And because of math, you're at the 9, and you've got to go to Bridgeview. How's that for your playoffs? Yeah, right. You're the 9, you go to Bridgeview. You don't even go to Chicago because of something called the National Football League.
Yep.
So it literally is. It literally is. You're going to Bridgeview to play. And you're taking on Chicago in the 8-9 early. What do you think about that one?
I have Chicago on this one, and for a few reasons, but I think Chicago is that team that they're the box of chocolates. Like really, you never know what you're going to get. And sometimes they'll drop 4 on somebody, and then they'll just look atrocious.
Yeah,
but I think they've got it in them. Of course, you do have the pseudo home field advantage as well. And Orlando's just they've been too inconsistent on the negative side for me. And after the way that a handful of their final matches went in regular season, I don't like their chances in this one. I think Chicago takes it.
One win, I think, in their last 7.
Yeah.
How it was for them. And then the 8-9 late night side for us, it's like, okay, so MLS After Dark, you end up with the West 8-9, Portland and RSL. And by the way, Chicago favored at a +121, no real surprise. Portland favored at about the same number. They're at a +117. This has MLS After Dark written all over it, especially for those of us on the East Coast with Portland and RSL. And look, I'm going to do this. I'm going to look at it this way. I'm not even going to look at the number, even though I know what the favorite is in this one. It's the home team. Over under 3.5 is a +148. Over under 4.5 is a +349. That's where I'm looking. I can take that 3.5 and run all day.
And it's funny because we were talking on MLS Monday. I was like, oh, this is going to be a 0-0 draw and Portland wins in penalties. But it's going to be, I think no matter what, whether there's tons of goals or not, I think it's going to be drunk, 100% drunk. And I'm excited. Like that this one, it just has all the makings of like it is the, we do this thing on the show. This is the drunk uncle match of the week, in my opinion. This is going to be something stupid and so much fun to watch.
I'm
excited.
Yeah.
And then you take into account, like Portland had the weird like home field thing last year. They weren't supposed to be, and then they got switched back to being, playing on the like it was just like a weird situation. And so with Portland and playoffs, there's always something odd. So yeah,
yes.
I think Portland takes it ultimately, no matter how it happens, whether it's full on drunk uncle on the trampoline, like WWE, or you're just sitting there like watching red cards fly. I think it's going to be interesting.
Oh, that'd be great. All right. So tonight, 7:00.
Yeah, it's going to be a little different though.
Oh, how different is it?
Well, it's going to be different. So it'll be the perfect appetizer for y'all to get ready for the 2 wildcard matches. We're actually doing our show not in one particular location, but we are all going to be at varying Waffle Houses.
Oh, see.
And just discussing, the season, the changes at the coaching spot. Obviously talking a little bit about the wild card matches as well, but yeah, I'm gonna be sitting in a booth in a Waffle House doing this show tonight.
Fantastic.
And teaching Tommy how to order Waffle House hash browns because he's like, "Oh, you just put some salt on them," and I'm like, "Dude, get out of here, man! Like you've got to learn. You can't just go in a Waffle House and order hash browns with salt on them. Get out. There's too many other toppings to choose from."
I'm sorry, he's not allowed in a Waffle House until he figures out the different orders.
He's gonna learn.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay. That just gave me a headache. That's not how this works.
I have nightmares about this. Like somebody that has been to a Waffle House is just like, "Oh, you don't need to do anything to them."
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you need to like not talk and just listen to the people. All right. So, yeah, I'm intrigued, and he's got to find something other than salt. That is just so un-American.
It is.
As always, my friend, great to see you in the midweek, and we'll catch up with you soon. And when you have when he's added stuff other than salt, good Lord.
I mean, at least throw some onions or some gravy. Gravy is good on everything.
Triple order hash brown, scattered, smothered, covered, chunked, and topped. Move on.
There you go.
I mean, it's a meal in itself. All right, save up and go with an empty stomach tonight.
Indeed.